Should I go ahead and share my screen? Oh, yes, we should record.
Yeah, I did. It's recording, Kevin.
Oh, sweet. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chaos Evolution Working Group meeting on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. We've got a few things to talk about today. First is there was an open pull request that we talked about last week that I want to revisit. Sean did some reviews on it since the last meeting, and I think it's ready for another round of analysis from us. And then I believe that there's a new metric that is due to release. The 30-day waiting period on the new contributors metric is over. And so I think we are ready, if there are no outstanding objections, to go ahead and get that out there. And then there are a number of other pull requests that are open, as you may or may not have seen. Most of those are still in the early processes of being worked on. So, just getting formatting things right, language changes. And so most of those I think are still early enough on in the review stage that it would be better for us to just do offline reviews with those until they're at a point where it would be, I think, more productive to have the whole, to spend some time on the call on them, if that makes sense. So I will go ahead. You guys want me to go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah.
That'd be helpful. All right. Put that down in the corner. Okay, so the metric that we reviewed last week was this new metric for inactive contributors. So there were a couple changes that we requested. I'm just going to go ahead and look at all of these changes. Show resolved. First one, bold instead of a third level heading. Okay, so yes, it's bolded. I wish I would show you the updated version next to it. Commits to contributions throughout. So if I do this, you know what, let's do it this way. There we go. Now I can have these up. I feel like I missed some. What was I looking for? I was changing, yes. Right, so no longer using, oh, that's right, because before it was commits, and so since we wanted to focus on contributions, all contributions, not just commits, I think we just made that change. Figure your time. Objective is to determine how many people have stopped contributing actively. Right. Oh yeah, okay, so I think we just wanted to clean up the rest of this because we felt that it was pretty, I would say redundant, but it just could be more succinct. Like you could just, the way it is now, just the objective is to determine how many people have stopped contributing, just so you can tell who's interested. Just changing some of the language to make that clearer. Looks good to me. Just misspelled contributors. That looks like it's fixed. Ends with a question mark.
Did this ever live in a Google Doc, or was it built here?
I think it was built here.
Okay, I don't feel like I've seen this much.
Probably not. This was the first time we talked about it was last week, or it was last meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, this was not, did not come from a Google Doc.
Okay.
Should we, well, is that, I mean, that is an easier way to collaborate. Should we have people propose, like, would that be an easier way to have people start contributing, do you think? Would that make more sense?
The workflow that we use everywhere else is started in a Google Doc, and then once it becomes kind of stable at that point, then create the PR in GitHub.
Okay.
And then once the PR is merged, then ask for feedback, the community feedback on that 30-day window. So this one just skipped the Google Doc part.
Okay. Um, is there like a, oh, what's I'm looking for? Is there like a formal like a outlining of that process somewhere else that we could like put into the repository description so that we could
It should,
just like try to think about how to.
I'm guessing it's in the community handbook, but I could be wrong.
I don't think that process is completely outlined.
Okay.
You don't.
I don't think so.
It's uh, just kind of been done.
Okay.
All right.
I like that idea. I would be willing to spend some time writing that up, if necessary.
Why don't we
Just
just
to
let's just take it out of here? Or do you want to just the easiest thing at this point with this might be just to merge this PR
mhm.
and then just work off of that. But then in the future, go off of kind of the Google Doc approach.
Mhm. Um,
Or were you talking about writing up that approach?
writing up that approach is what I meant. You know, like just to outline it so the newcomers are um, familiar with the process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we don't have to do that right now. I think for now the easiest thing probably would just be to work with this PR, and then in the future going forward, we can use Google Docs.
So I would say
Uh,
if you're gonna do that, um, I'm gonna put it in the minutes here.
okay. I'm going to just this. Send it is. Okay. Is there a specific like folder that we store the chaos the Google Docs in? Like, is there a chaos wide one? Is it just by?
Your own,
Okay.
and then just update it in the spreadsheet.
Okay. The this one, the release one.
Yep, and then just obviously make sure that like
Hmm.
the document is editable by all.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. I had a train of thought, but I lost it. That's no matter. Here. So should just keep going through this, yada yada. I think this is this is the only one that hadn't been marked as resolved. Meaning is the number of days back we want to look altogether. For example, the default time period could be all time, it could be 3 years, and the interval determines an activity. I'm not exactly I'm trying to figure out what the
issue is.
yeah. If a previous contributor has not made any commits for longer than the cutoff. I vaguely remember us talking about, because I think for me, I'm starting to recall what the problem was. I think we were talking about the like what like the definition of like a period and a cutoff is, like how you could um interpret that.
What
I
part is a period or a cutoff? Or those two different phrases?
I think that was the
Longer than the cutoff, I see. If a previous contributor has not made any commits for longer than the cutoff, inactive count. So it sounds like a period and a cutoff. So you have, is a period just a block of time, like 2 weeks or a month or whatever, and then a
I
cutoff
think
of that month?
That's what I'm not sure about. In the review comment, Sean said change period to time period, which is the range of dates we are looking for an active contributor. So I think that's like a, you know, April 22nd, 2020 to April 22nd, 2017.
Highlighted there. So okay, yeah. So it would be right. It would be a week, like you're saying, like a week or 2 weeks or whatever. And then interval is whatever you choose. So you have the window, you have the month window that you want to look at. And they show me the interval of people who have been active, or show me the people who have been active for 3 days or more.
Right.
That's how I read that sentence or paragraph that he just wrote there.
This one here.
Yeah.
Or that's how I read it too. So your definition of period is not what I originally intended. It tended to be more of a graph period, as in if a period is a year, it would show how many went inactive in each year.
Okay.
So
let's just make that change. That's fun.
Yeah. Can we edit this? Can we edit this? Can I edit this?
I don't know.
It says I can.
Try.
I might as well.
And well, it looks like you can.
Yeah, I don't. Or is it gonna? Oh. Is it just gonna take this and put it? Oh no. Okay, it's on the other one. I thought it was just committed directly to the CHAOSS repo. I was like, that's interesting. Okay, so it was implementation paragraph. Oh wait, it's been changed. Oh, it's already been changed, but it hasn't been marked as resolved. Oh, okay. So here, this is the new one. The metric will take in two variables, a time period and interval. Okay, so I think it is just changing the words period to time period and cutoff to interval.
Let's mark that resolve then. And I think we should merge this.
I agree.
You can take a look at it kind of that way.
So I would say submit the review, merge pull requests. Cool.
So let's take a look at this in the repo.
Metrics. I should just pull this up.
I see it right there. Yeah.
Do this way.
Okay. Okay.
Is my screen too big? Do you want me to just drop it to one side of it?
No, I can see it just fine.
Okay. Work by. How do we feel about including this section? Because usually, don't we? I think we try to remain.
Not to go into too much detail.
Right, and this isn't a whole lot of detail. I mean, it's still pretty plain English, but it might be.
I'm with you. So we just have the description, the objectives, the implementation. That first paragraph actually kind of provides enough detail.
That's what I was thinking.
And then he has aggregators.
I'm not sure why this is an aggregator.
I don't even know. I don't think heading that we can.
We usually do have an aggregators heading, but it's always formatted. It's not really a heading so much. It's just like it's a bolded little section under implementation.
Okay.
there's usually the same one for parameters, but I'm not really sure that this, to me, the aggregator is just count in this case, which would be the number of inactive contributors, if that's even an aggregator. I mean,
so filter, okay, yeah. So, oh, that, I mean, I guess that's fine. So filters, data collection, is that the end of it? Data collection.
yeah.
Filters, minimum contributions required to be considered active. Period of time to determine an activity start, end date. Period of, what's period of graph?
That I think that's alluding to. Is this pull request still open? So in the actual pull request comment, that one that we marked resolved, he did make a reference to a graph period. A period is a year. It would show how many went inactive in each year. I still don't understand what the graph.
I mean, the start and end date is the period of graph.
Yeah.
To me, anyway.
Like, yeah. I agree.
You could put it in a table, or it doesn't really matter how you display it.
Mm-hmm. I'm also not sure that. I guess minimum contributions required to be considered active could be a filter, but from my understanding of the metric, it was like based on this is like if you've made a contribution, then you wouldn't be inactive.
If you made a contribution in a specified interval.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, you know what, never mind. I guess my thinking was just like this metric was trying to determine if you are inactive or not, like just yes or no, and not so much like, there are people who would technically fall under, like they've made contributions, but they're not active contributors.
Yeah, I see.
Like, if the contributions, if it's 3, if the minimum contributions is 3, and I've only made 2 contributions in the past week, even though I have actively been contributing to the repository, I would still technically fall under inactive. Right. So to me, having the minimum contributions feels like it's trying to answer the question of like, how active are the people who are active? Like how many people, with this certain level of engagement, as opposed to just are they engaged at all?
Here, let's I understand your point. So yeah, let's
I must be on is it gonna make me do it? Is it make me go to my fork?
The way that we should do this at this point is to
put it in Google Doc.
No, I would just say at this point, let's just well, actually, yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's put it in a Google Doc. That's
okay. I gotta open.
Yeah, just make a Google Doc.
Oh, let's see. There we go. All right. Share. Contributors. Shareable link. Anyone with the link can edit. All right. I'll put this in.
And then put it in the spreadsheet.
Yes, I also put it in the chat.
Okay.
Active contributors. Yes.
You have to change the edit permissions on it.
Oh, I do? Oh, I didn't hit done. Did it work now?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
This is still being funny. Do you want me to try to share it again?
It's funny. It's acting funny. Because I can. Oh, it looks like I'm okay now. Yep, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we can.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, from a suggesting perspective, I think we get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
That.
How do you feel about the minimum contributions? Should that be in this metric or not?
You know, I get your point.
I think it could go either way. Like, I see why it would be useful. That was just my original reaction to seeing that as a filter.
Let's keep it. I get your point, but it's a filter that you could apply, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with that.
There's this last.
How do you suggest? I know I do this.
It's up in the upper right-hand corner below share.
Yep.
It says editing right now.
Yep, I think I got it. I think the data collection strategies, I think we have like a standard way we usually list those out. Let me try to find it. Because I think that's usually from like defining what an issue is or a contributor is and things like that. Maybe it's under here. Because I know like on new issues, it's specific description for GitHub, GitLab, Jira, and Bugzilla. I know this isn't issues, but maybe it would be worth it to just point kind of how we done with like the other contributors metrics, defining them in relation to the common metrics. Maybe just saying the same thing here, just like this is what a contributor is according to this metric.
So where would you put that?
And the data collection strategies. Oops.
What if we put that? So what was the common metric you wanted to link to?
Well, I think there's one just for contributors. Let me try to find. Is it contributors? I really. Oh, here it is. Okay, so if you're looking at my screen, the specific implementation of the contributors metric here in the description. I mean, would this even be a specific implementation of the contributors metric in active contributors? This is the common one.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think so too.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's fair.
Okay. So
Can you, if you're gonna link, can you link it off of not the GitHub page, but
the metrics one?
Yeah, if you do provide a link.
Yeah, I just used the same one from new contributors.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. I was just making sure you weren't pulling it off of GitHub. That's all.
So I think we can then.
I added as a filter, I'm adding organizational diversity.
Okay.
I think a little like kind of what you're doing, that one of the filters could necessarily be, I want to look at if 5 people from the same organization have become inactive.
That's something significant.
Yep.
I agree with that. I think that we can get rid of, I think we get rid of the first line under data collection because we added the link to the contributors metric up there. And then I think this is.
We actually don't need this.
Actually.
This, we could just have it be, or we can just have it be implementation and then filters. Like data collection strategies is an optional field, so we don't need any of it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, if it doesn't add anything,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah. I'm 100% with you.
So who's anonymous Kiwi up at the top?
It's not me.
Not me either. It's okay. Add your
I
stuff.
think it's Vinod.
So you, Vinod?
I saw Vinod's name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kept it mute because my kids were crying outside, so not to bother in the meeting.
I had a meeting at 6 a.m. this morning, and my dog
man.
crazy. So the same sort of thing.
Okay. Contributors. I'm just gonna change that. Organizational diversity. Are there any other aggregators significant enough that we might want to add?
No, I think that's fine for this. I'm going to ask Vinod. So Vinod, you had changed that sentence. The period of time required for a contributor to be counted as an active can be decided by community members? What is evaluator community? Vinod, I know you probably have kids.
So what I'm trying to say is like, who is going to decide this variable, either a community manager or any person who is using this metric as an evaluation, like for evaluation purpose.
Okay. I'll try to get it down to one word. It's kind of a funny statement because by
I think
normally we don't specify who has to use the metric.
I was gonna say I think specifying that there is a variable that controls this time period, I think it's descriptive enough to say that you could change it if you were using it, no matter who you are.
So maybe like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be in the
Period of time required as an active can be in the form. I think we
or
can be controlled by a variable. Or, yeah.
I'm stuck in my delete. Okay.
Variable and this metric will define the contributors and enable an active over a given time frame.
So let's, I think this is better now. So let's take this. Actually, let's just leave this for the time being. Let's accept our changes. That was mostly just for us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, still.
For that, you can take it out of.
Yeah.
Testing mode. All right. And then how about next time we meet, we kind of just do one last walkthrough on this because Sean will be around.
Mm-hmm. And
then we can kind of close it out by issuing the pull request and then opening it up for public comment.
Okay. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and, so what we're going to meet on the 6th. I'm going to go ahead and just make something on the meeting notes for the 6th.
100%.
their final review. Inactive. And then you go ahead and put a link to it so that we have it. Cool. There we go. I was going to say something, I don't remember what. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, just open it up for public comment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then can we go down to the release candidate, the new contributors on your?
Yes. Here, let me get rid of all of these. Or did you want me to pull up the metric or the thread?
Well, just I mean, have all the issues been resolved? Any comments on it?
So I think waiting one small request change from Georg. Once you resolve, be this ready for release. Under consideration. I think there was. I'm not sure which pull request this is referencing. I don't think it's this one.
Okay.
I think there was a change to contributors that we were waiting on.
From who?
I think that's the one that it was from Georg. How do I?
He has down there done.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like the last thing. And I mean, if I pull up the metric, it looks good to me. I mean, I think we went through a couple.
Yeah, I'm gonna check one thing.
We should probably get rid of this.
What? No, that has to stay there.
Oh, okay. Oh, is this something we're doing for every like the rolling release?
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So it'll come off when it's released in the regular release.
Oh, okay.
So hold on, I'm gonna get the. So we actually here, I'm gonna go in. Actually, we have standard text that we're using for that.
Okay.
I'm gonna update this.
Okay.
This, which pull request? What number is this?
This is 329. Or the issue is 329.
Yeah, okay.
So after you make that change, is there anything else that you wanted to change about this, or should we go ahead and?
No, I think this is. So then we just need to. So I'm gonna issue the PR here. I just need to put a new pull request in there.
Okay.
So then I think we need to ping Kevin.
Okay.
To get this, to actually get this up on the website.
Okay. Do you want me to just go ahead and write your pull request?
Yeah, I mean, I just followed normal stuff.
Sounds good. Okay. Oh, looks like you mentioned it 21 minutes ago.
Oh, right. So then you also have to update, you have to create a new issue. Here, I'll provide an example for you.
Okay.
Just a second.
So should I go ahead and close the open issue for comments?
Yes. Whatever, thanks. Thanks, review period. Yeah, review period over. I just posted an issue.
Ah, why did it do that? There you go.
So do you see the error right where you're over?
Mm-hmm. Here.
That's all you have to add.
Okay. I think Kevin actually already did that on this one.
Okay, great. Just modify that. It looks like Kevin Lombard will edit. So
do you want me to just ping him in? Well, no, he saw on the other one that it's done. So I think that
on that issue, actually go back to that issue. Can you just tag him, say thanks, and say this metric is ready for the website? And does this contain, it does, it contains a link to the metric. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, smile on there. Cool.
Okay, so then
awesome.
Let's go back to I'm just going to go mark this. This is, which one was this? New contributors.
Mm-hmm.
Mark it in progress. I'll mark it ready, actually.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, that's done. Good. And
awesome.
so then you have the same process for whatever that, I'm going to mark the other one, inactive contributors.
Okay.
In progress.
And we should wait to do, you said we should wait to do the community review until next meeting. We'll start it at the next meeting.
We'll just kind of put closure on the Google Doc, and then we can make the proper, like just update the pull request with the Google Doc text, and then start the community review period.
Okay, sounds good to me. Awesome. We released a metric, or good for us.
Agreed.
So beyond, so those were the two main things I wanted to talk about today. Other than that, we can work on new metrics, and then I also saw some stuff down here. Ooh, this looks like an interesting chart. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah, I added. This is so I think in Evolution, and I've asked for the raw file on this, but in Evolution, there are a couple focus areas where there is a relationship between the metrics.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, around issues, there are things like new issues, closed issues, age of issue, reopening of an issue, right? I mean, you kind of get this. There's a life cycle that kind of lives with issues, and pull requests are kind of similar. So one of the things that came up in yesterday's community call was creating kind of these high-level visuals as to what the relationship between issues is. Just so people can come to the Evolution working group, or the CHAOSS project, and then the Evolution working group, and kind of say, you have these 5 metrics related to issues. Mm-hmm. How are they related to one another?
Okay, that makes sense. So kind of like this thing of like which metric is like looking like which metrics are looking at which parts of the issue's lifespan, and like how they, how that sequence would go, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And of course there's there's kind of exceptions. There will be exceptions to these rules. So for example,
Of course.
but just kind of this high level view, right? So when we talk about the age of an issue, what does that even, what does that cover? Yes. When we talk about, time to close an issue, what is the window that covers? So I'd recommend, once I get the raw files for this, the person who had originally put this together did it in a PowerPoint slide deck. So I asked for the raw files, and I'll get the raw files, and then we can start working off that.
Okay. I really like that idea, actually. I think this is really helpful. Just being able to look at a high-level overview of this. I think you're exactly right. I think it really goes a long way in helping people come to the project and go, okay, this is cool. Why should I care?
Yep. And how are, yep, exactly. Why should I care? And how are these things related to one another? And
I think it's
really
easy,
like
especially
this idea. Sorry. I really like this idea, but looking at the image, I'm getting this like it's a linear process, or is it a cyclical process? Like that visual is still stuck in my mind. Like, should I focus this? All these 5 issues are linearly related to each other, or in a tree shape related? That's where I'm stuck right now. I'm trying to phrase or like visualize the connection.
I think the linearity is the blue triangles. You open an issue, you respond to an issue, you close an issue, you can reopen the issue, you can tag / comment. I mean, some of these could exist in both, and then you can read the issue. So I think that's the linear part of this. So what metrics do we have that deal with the gap between the first 2 triangles, right? Which is the issue response time.
Or like maintainer or that, not necessarily even the first one, but like even maintainer response could go anywhere in that. It could go anywhere in here. How long does our maintainers taking to respond? Like that sort of thing.
Yep. So so it's possible that 2 metrics are pulling data from the same time period. That's totally fair. So I think the linearity is only the blue triangles. And then the things above, and I think the things below are what are most interesting to me, which are what are the metrics that are covered in those time periods. Does that help, Vinod?
Yes. So like, okay, so we have one linear cycle, then we have some intervening metrics, like which cross this cycle at any point in time, not sure when, but they can cross at any point in time. And these combination makes a certain interaction or some kind of a visual map.
Do you think it's a bad visual map, or is it okay?
No, this is good starting point, but my thought was like, should I see those intervening as a branches in a tree form, or should I when I'm in the evolution, I'm thinking of a cycle. Okay, issue opened, issue commented, issue resolved in a cycle form or reopened. Should I turn that visual in a circular motion and visualize it? Something along those lines. So, but this is a really good starting point as for us to think and like evolve over the period of time, how we can visualize for anyone to see the relationship of different matrices.
Okay, no, that's fair. And I think maybe when I get the raw file, we could play around with different visualizations.
Yes.
And the goal would obviously be to keep it very simple.
Simple and like, so that at a glance, you get the entire message.
Yeah, you get the message of, listen, issues or pull requests live in this life cycle, and we have metrics that address different time periods of that life cycle. And that's the message I think that needs to be delivered. And we could even, I think whenever we release something like this, we will put a caveat that says this is not perfect. This is a hope of placing you kind of where our minds are at. Maybe variations on this, but
Yeah. No, I love this idea. I think it's super cool.
Okay.
I can't wait to play with it.
So I think if I go to, hold on a second, chaos metrics. So I think these types of visualizations are pretty pretty important for evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vinay, you and I talked about this yesterday. I think that certain working groups and their aggregation of metrics, it's less so. So for example, the example I brought up yesterday was in the diversity and inclusion working group. Their aggregation of metrics, they don't quite have the same relationship,
Mm-hmm.
time temporal relationship that these would. So
Right.
so if I look at, so I mean, even if I just look at the evolution, like on the released metrics,
Mm-hmm.
I think developing a map for issue resolution would be good, which is kind of what we have here. And developing a map for what is called code development efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically that's reviews, that's PRs.
Right. Yeah, I think both of those are really good places to start with both of these. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm with you. I'm gonna
And we might want to, Carter, you might want to think about like if as we develop these maps, how do we release them, or how do they leave the evolution working group, and like how do we display? I'm not quite sure how.
Mm-hmm.
How do
I
we
think
get a page.
yeah, I think a good way to do it could be by focus area, like when we have these goals, like you know, maybe even frame it in. I don't want to say that, but like having this like here's an overview of some of the what we feel are the key metrics in this focus area and how they relate to others. Of course, then that starts to, I guess, limit it to within that focus area, which may or may not be what we want. You know, maybe there are some, you know, graphs that would be better served as bridging the gap between like issues and PRs, in which case it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to specify that in one focus area. But yeah, we can think on it.
Like the best way to display this. So, you know, having it like right now it's buried in a Google Doc, and having information in GitHub is not, as you know, the best for like sending a clear message. So just think about it. That's all.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be solved now.
Yeah.
How do we make this visible? So you guys drop off. I have a meeting at 10 that I have to honestly try to prepare for just a tiny bit.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with it in a couple of minutes early if you guys are as well. We got through everything I wanted to get through today.
Yeah, that was good. Thanks for taking the time. Alrighty.
All right. See you guys later.
Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.